Want candy? Want candy now?
What's going on, everybody? Nazdarachi back again with another episode of Relic Review. Today we are looking at the second banner for the Last of the Red Wings event. It is a reasonably good banner, but it's inconveniently placed, so me personally, I can't recommend making too many heavy draws on it. I mean, unless you really want force synergy with all the upcoming goodness with Squall's BSB banner, some Final Fantasy V goodness, and Extreme Fest / Clouds USB coming up, you're going to want to start stockpiling your Mithril, especially if you're a free-to-play player. With that being said, there is also the 160-220 Conquest Raid Dungeon versus Cognazzo. He is a little SOB. Once he starts charging his super move, his Tsunami, you need to hit him 7 times with lightning abilities, and chain abilities do not count. So you're going to have to probably whip out some good lightning BSBs like Kane or Ash, and then as well bring some magic debuffs and some mitigation also, but the Tsunami does ignore your resistance / defense, so you could be in trouble. Now, you can check all that information out in the event description. So, moving on, there really isn't a whole lot of other new updates currently, so it's a good event, Final Fantasy IV, but it is kind of a lull. You do have the Nightmare dungeons still at half stamina as well, so good time to farm the Nightmare dungeons. You actually get reasonably good experience for doing those if you can hammer them out pretty quick. So in the meantime, let's go ahead and check out the Relic banner here. Now, you still have your old stuff open, and that includes the events as well, so if you have some backtracking to do, don't forget about that. But let's just focus on what we got here today. We got Ragnarok. This is Paladin Cecil's OSB returning. It is very, very average, but you got 6-star sword with 167 attack, small boost to holy damage always in effect, so that is quite helpful. And then your Overstrike, the Arc of Light, massive physical holy and non-elemental damage to one target, can break the damage cap. There's no modifiers or cast time reduction or any range or anything too crazy going on with this. You're looking at just a very basic average Holy Overstrike Soul Break. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. If you do already have his BSB, you can build him to be quite a powerful holy character. So it is a good move, but just very average in terms of OSBs overall. Now, your percent chance to draw the Ragnarok seems to be right around a flat 1%. So you're looking at pretty normal odds there across the board. Next up, we have the BSB for Palom here. I always got to check which twin is which. So, the Chocobo suit, 114 defense resistance, 17 magic, very similar to other light armors in the game. Minor resistance to poison can come in handy in certain situations. Maybe if you're playing against, Doomgaze, Final Fantasy VI, he throws out a lot of poison stuff, or Thumbaba. So, anyway, moving on, your Burst Soul Break here, Try Disaster, 8 magic fire, lightning, and ice attacks to one target, haste burst mode to the user, 10 attacks if your target has a slight weakness to any one of those 3 main elements. So you have the potential for some pretty good DPS on entry, as long as playing with the main elements actually works out in your favor. Now your burst abilities, Bomb Thunder, 4 magic fire lightning attacks to one target, remove the delay from the user's offensive magic for 1 turn if the user has a slight weakness to fire lightning, and Ice Thunder is exactly the same thing, but Ice Lightning instead. So it's not a top tier BSB, but again, if you're working in a situation where you can make good on these 3 main elements, then you do have the cast time reduction, meaning you can pump out some pretty good damage with this, making it a reasonably good BSB. I'm not super interested in building the twins, but they are fairly powerful in this game. And for the Chocobo suit, you're looking at about another 1% even, which is consistent with the Zeus Mace here as well. I got 1% chance to pull this one as well. Very average across the board numbers, what we've come to expect so far. So you do have the Zeus Mace, 55 attack, 100 magic, 136 mine, no bonus effects. And your BSB here, the Healing Wind, restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies, temporarily raise their magic and mine a moderate amount, and haste burst mode to the user. So good buff for healers and black mages. The restore a moderate amount of HP to all allies is going to be very similar to Theodore's healing effect, but you'll probably get more actual healing from it because it's a little bit more dedicated to healing here instead of split between damage and healing. Theodore can have a really high mind stat if you get him all the way up to 99 though. But your burst commands here: Mysidia's Light, restore a large amount of HP to one ally or revive them if they are KO'd and restore a small amount of HP to them. Cure Wave, restore a small amount of HP to all allies. These are pretty useful burst commands. Now, the revive in this game does suffer some pretty significant penalties. Your character is going to come back completely unbuffed, and with only a small amount of HP, if you are in a high-level dungeon, you're going to have a very strong chance of that character getting pretty much instantly killed again. Now, there are certain situations where if you queue up your abilities ahead of time, where you can lead into this, and then maybe another heal, then have wall pop off again, like instantly, you could recover using this. So it is useful, you just have to play it very carefully. It's not like Yuna's USB where you can just recklessly cast that and not have to worry about your characters dying again. Unless you're sapped, of course. And for the Zeus Mace, yeah, we said we had about a 1% chance to pull that. So next up, we got a very dated BSB for Edge here, the Mutsunakami. It is a katana, 132 attack, 71 magic, because ninjas do need magic, and no bonus effect. Your burst soul break, Seething Waters, 8 physical water non-elemental attacks to one target, temporarily infuse the user with the power of water, and haste burst mode to the user. Nothing really crazily stand out about this, but it will fit in quite nicely if you're building a water themed team with Riku and Titus's Chain Soul Break. So this could fit in very nicely with that, and Edge is capable of doing some pretty good damage, and he will be even more viable in the future when he gets his USB. So good stuff coming down the road for Edge. He's as well as capable of dealing a pretty good amount of damage with Phantasm, so if you can hone that and throw that on him, you might have a good time with Edge here. It's going to be fun in the future too to put Edge on a team with Rubicant when they release him as a playable character also. Burst commands here: Water Barrage, 4 physical water non-elemental attacks to one target, reduce delay before hitting, and Raging Seas, 2 physical water non-elemental attacks to all targets, reduce delay before hitting. So he does have the reduced delay, meaning he is capable of doing some pretty good DPS, but again, you're going to want to be in a situation where water is going to lean to your favor here, or whether it's kind of just not an issue. And again, stacking it with Titus's Chain Soul Break is a great strategy with this item right here. So I wouldn't mind pulling it, but again, it is pretty old and nothing that really pops on it. So it's not an amazing BSB, but it's good for what it's good for. It seems like you got about a 0.91% chance to pull it here. Honestly, out of this banner, that's probably what I would want the most, just because I already have some dupes, and I wouldn't mind a BSB for Edge. Next up, we're still on my man Edge here. Red Jacket, light armor, 17 attack, 113 defense resistance, so staple light armor right there. Small boost to fire damage, which can come in handy, but Edge does seem to be more water based, at least as BSB anyway, so it's not really going to help you out there. Super Soul Break, Eblin Doppelganger. Anyone who's been playing for a while, especially when the Nemesis dungeon was out, should be fairly familiar with this. Blur the image of all allies, enabling them 1 physical blink, and Last Stand and Haste to everybody. Great item for really technical boss battles where you're going to need this effect. And then again, Haste and Last Stand are always useful pretty much no matter what, except if you're grinding through trash dungeons where it's not going to help you clear faster. But in any boss situation, Last Stand, Haste, useful. Physical blink as well, definitely super useful. You're going to want this if you're building Edge to round him out. And like I said, in the right situation, this one can really save your bacon right here. And it looks like you have about a 2.31% chance to pull it. I already have it, so hopefully I can avoid it. Pretty sure I have it 6-starred as well. Another item I already have here, Asura Rod for Palom. You got 55 attack, 127 magic, and small boost to holy damage, which does actually stack with the entry effect here. 8 magic, holy, and fire lightning attacks to all targets, temporarily lower their magic and resistance a large amount. So another good multi-situational entry command here. You got holy, fire, lightning, so just depending on those situations, they may or may not be helping you out more or less. And in a situation where your enemy is going to be dealing out a lot of magic damage, then this break right here is going to be something that's very, very, very helpful. Unfortunately, in a physical dungeon, this is not going to be super useful unless you're bringing a mage party. Then you can still capitalize on the resistance break. Again, I already have this one. It's a pretty good super soul break. If you're building Palom here, you're going to probably want this one, but if you get away with just the BSB, you may not ever really need these breaking effects. But again, they are fairly helpful. And the Asura Rod, let's see here, looking at a 1.66% chance roughly to pull the Asura Rod right there. And we got another super soul break for the other twin this time, a hat, the feathered cap. 0 attack, 28 magic, 37 mind, 83 defense, 121 resistance. Again, this one's for Porum, not Palom. And your Super Soul Break Twin Star, temporarily raise the attack of all allies a moderate amount, mind a small amount, and critical hit chance a large amount. This is a great buff if you're bringing a physical team, for example, with Kane and Dark Knight, Paladin, Cecil, Edge, even though Edge does have a little bit of magic to him. So still, the crit buff is pretty rare on relics. There are a few that have it, but overall, this is pretty solid Super Soul Break right here if you're looking for a buff and you need it from Final Fantasy IV synergy characters. So I, again, not too interested in building the twins, but to keep them well-rounded, this is a great banner to pull on for them. And oh yeah, for the hat there, looking at 2.01% chance to pull. Next up, we have an item that launched with Sid on the event that he launched with, gloves. Sid's gloves, bracers, 26 attack, 18 magic, 94 defense, 90 resistance, and 19 mind. So useful for whoever ends up wearing them, if not Sid. No bonus effects. And Super Soul Break Monkey Wrench, 6 range physical attacks to all targets and penta break them. Very, very similar to Barrett's Super Soul Break. Useful, but it would be cooler if it was a burst soul break and there were some commands down here to continue its usefulness, like Fran, for example. But as is, I don't really have a reason to use Sid. I don't have his lightning buffing relic to boost Kane up, so hopefully I could avoid that one if I was drawing on this banner. Your percent chance to pull these gloves here is about 1.70% roughly. And last but not least, we have the Bomb Core for Tella here. So no unique soul breaks on this banner right here. That's nifty. If you're pulling on it, that might be a reason you got a chance to get maybe some better gear, especially if you don't have Paladin, Cecil's OSB, or Edge's BSB. Really, those are the only two reasons why I would want to pull on this banner. 55 attack, 127 magic, 105 mind. It is a rod here for Tella. Super Soul Break Last Gasp. Temporarily raise the attack and magic of all allies a moderate amount. Remove the delay from their actions for 1 turn. And afflict the user with doom. Pretty good, honestly. Tella is not a character, again, that I'm really interested in building. But I would place him definitely above Edward. This is in terms of my likes, in my opinion. But this is another good buff for Final Fantasy IV if you are needing that from the realm. And it's very strategically useful as well with the delay reduction. So again, you could place this before launching Kane and Paladin Cecil's OSBs, shorten the delay on that, and then their attack is buffed. And you know, there's nothing but good things that this is going to do for you here. Again though, not something that I would be super interested in drawing because I don't plan on bringing Tella in my party anytime soon. So it honestly seems like something that might help you out more if you roaming warrior it. And you have about a 1.98% chance to pull the Bomb Core here. That is the last item there, so let's go ahead and just make a 100 gem draw for shits and giggles here. Not really expecting a whole lot, but again, you never know. I had some pretty good luck on that combat banner. Pretty good luck. If you didn't see that video already, it was pretty entertaining. I enjoyed editing that. So no glow, nothing special, just a little 3-star here. At least it's not that other blue rod I always get. Anyway, y'all, again, I personally wouldn't recommend doing any heavy pulls on this banner. I'd start pooling your resources for some of the stuff that's coming this summer. Pretty close down the road, actually. So In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Relic Review here. We got a little bit of downtime, so just farm up some Nightmare Dungeons. Throw a like on the video if you enjoyed this content, as well as sub the channel if you haven't already. I'm doing about 2 to 3 Final Fantasy Record Keeper videos a week, and some other stuff here and there as well. So until then, I hope you guys have a great evening. I should be streaming all the high-level dungeons here maybe tomorrow night. And again, until then, I will catch you next time. Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.